Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Crystal. This is another edition of the 9 o'clock Meltdown podcast. And over video, I have the extremely talented and very versatile Kevin Buck, also known as Kevin Buck, solo acoustic performer. Hello, sir.
Hi.
How are things? How's your Wednesday? How did Kevin Buck come to be Kevin Buck, solo acoustic performer?
I don't know. Just, I suppose it's because I have all these guitars, and I had to find something to do with. They're all over the place. I don't know. I have to find something to do with all those guitars. So I decided about 10 years ago that I would start doing acoustic shows in different places. And actually, most of the time I play electric guitar. Shh, don't tell anybody. But it's kind of an acoustic sound, and I play a lot of fun covers that are familiar songs that most people know, and it's just a really relaxing way to spend an evening. Usually sitting down with somewhere between 20 and 30 people typically, and just playing favorite songs and talking to people in audiences and interacting and stuff. So I love doing that, and I love playing my favorite songs. And, I've got, I don't know, probably 12 or 14 hours of music that I can play.
Wow.
Yeah, a couple 300 songs, and it's just fun. I love doing it.
That's great. Is the guitar playing kind of your retirement plan, or has that been something that you've always done?
No, I've been playing since I was probably, 13 or 14. I had a buddy that told me we were going to be in a rock band together in high school. And so we started playing together, and he taught me how to play. And I remember one day he said, you got to get a guitar, so I said, okay. So I had a paper route at the time, and I went to the Montgomery Ward's catalog and looked at the very best guitar I could buy in Monkey Ward's. So I bought it, and I get the thing back from it comes in the mail, right? And I'd never played a guitar before, really. And so I started playing it, and I found the strings are about that far off the neck, and for those who know how to play the guitar, it's really hard to play the strings when they're high off the neck. But I didn't know any better, so I just started into it, and wasn't long, and my friend eventually invited me over to his house and said, okay, now that you've learned some of the basic chords, I looked at his guitar, and it was, the strings are like that close, and I'm like, let me try that one once, and I'm going like, I was wondering why I had calluses like that thick on the end of my fingers. Oh. Like, this is ridiculously hard, I can't believe that it's so tough to learn how to play the guitar. Well, he had a Fender Telecaster, so I pulled that thing out and started playing it, and it was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. So he said, yeah, let's go get you a real guitar. So we went up to Minneapolis and bought a real guitar, and after that we started playing in a band together and in high school and stuff, and it was wonderful. So that's how I started out.
Fabulous. Did you take now obviously you still do the musical route and things like that. Was there ever a point in time where you kind of hit the pause button on music, or has music always been a part of your life?
No, it's always been part of my life. I've never really stopped. It's almost a compulsion with me. It's not like I can really stop. It's sort of like a thing that it's a sweet addiction is really what it is. And so collecting guitars and playing music, and I practice a couple hours every night and record stuff as much as I can, and I teach lessons to a few students here and there. They usually don't last very long because I'm too tough on them.
Oh, so the kind of tough love motto is what you chase.
Well, I make them practice every day. Most people can't do that or won't do that. And then I make them record their practice session and send me the recording.
Oh.
So it gives them some accountability but yeah, some of them can't hack that. They can't stand the idea that they have to practice every day and have to be accountable to somebody. But if you want to get good at it, if you want to learn it, that's what it takes, in my opinion. So
definitely.
That's what I do.
I agree. I was listening to a podcast once, and the person said there's no such thing as talent. Talent is just somebody that practices over and over and over again until you get great at something. And
That's for sure.
yes, I find that to be very true. But to your student's point, it can be kind of hard to break into something new, especially if you're not seeing the progression or as fast as you would like it. What do you say to your students when they come to you and just say, it's not working?
They always say that. They say that every day. Yeah, when they're sending the recording, they say, "Oh, this is just terrible. It's the worst thing ever." And I always tell them after I listen to the recording, that's the best thing ever. It's great that you're actually doing this and you're working at it. You don't even see the changes that are being made as you learn. It's a little bit, it's step by step. It's just a little teeny bit at a time. But over the course of a week, if you practice every single night and you play for an hour or so, you'll get better. You just do. You don't even know that you're getting better, but you are getting better. And so my job is to just encourage people. So when they send me that daily tape, and I listen to it, I say, "Hey, you're really getting better at this." "Oh no, I suck. I'm terrible." That's how it is. Every single student says the same thing.
Yes, I've been a student off and on myself for many years, and yeah, that rings a bell with me. Oh, I suck. But nope, practice
Yeah,
makes perfect, is what they say.
that's what they say.
Fabulous. So, Kevin, sounds like you've been playing guitar and music's been a big part of your life for quite a long time now. That's absolutely fabulous. Usually, when I talk to people, they hit it really hard, they kind of take a rest period, and then they kind of go back and forth and sway. It doesn't sound like that happened with you. It sounds like it's kind of kept going and kept that fire going in your belly. Has there been kind of a progression or a change throughout your music styles throughout the years, or has it kind of always been pretty even?
Yeah, I was really involved with church music for a lot of years, and I was a choir director at one time,
Wow.
and was a youth director at a church, and helped kids quite a bit. And so, I don't know. I've always been involved in kind of in music in different ways, but the progression has been from very much. I was very conservative, very kind of, I don't know how to put it, just a good church guy, and I was the music director for many, many years. And so I kind of, at one point, I don't know, about 10 years ago, I just decided I wanted to get out and expand my sphere of music. I just hadn't been doing much except just church music, so I started just playing at like Spirit Mountain and different places. And pretty soon, I just kept developing the repertoire. But always, even in no matter where I play, I always want to try to encourage people. It's just kind of a thing that every single time there's something special that happens. There's somebody, who's profoundly impacted by the music. It's like it means something in their heart. It's not just they're not just listening to music. They're not just having a good time, but there's something that touches them deeply. And that's the kind of thing I love, that engagement when people get involved in the show, and they're bringing up their favorite songs, and they're kind of taking a walk down memory lane, and just experiencing what they had at one time, kind of thing. And it's just really gratifying to have somebody come up to you at the end and say, you just, like the other day, I had a couple that lady said, "Well, we've got 6 children, and one of them's terribly abusive, and we just needed to get away. And tonight was our time to just kind of sit back and try to recapture our, a little bit of romance, and enjoy one another's company." And she said, "You were all about that tonight. You made such a difference in our lives. We just so much appreciate it." And it's just really gratifying to know that the music is more than just performing songs. It's more than just entertaining. It's actually connecting with people and trying to be that positive light, that little bit of spark of hope, that people are looking for. And most music actually has, pretty cool messages,
Mm-hmm.
messages of love and hope and peace and truth and all those kind of things, good things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I try to focus my attention a lot on those kind of songs and bring those things forward. And sometimes people aren't listening, they're just chit chatting. They're having dinner together and they're talking and they're visiting, and the music is just a background, it's just an afterthought. But every once in a while I get lucky and I get to connect with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, for me, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Yes. Oh, Kevin, that's absolutely beautiful. And I can hear the passion in your voice when you talk about that kind of sense of community and connection. Is that kind of led you on the church music path for quite for many years, it sounds like.
It did, and it's sort of like in church music, you have God that's sort of up here, and you have the
Mm-hmm.
people sort of that are. I'm doing this right here, down here, God up here, the people down here, and
Mm-hmm.
so the objective with music is to try to bring people and God together and let them experience one another. Kind of, I mean, that's sort of the role of music in church, is to try to draw people together, with
Oh,
the
right.
Lord. And it's just it's amazing to see that happen. And that's one of that worship experience is one of the greatest things that music can do. Music is just naturally a medium for worship. And even all ancient cultures used worship, not even Christian cultures necessarily, but
Mm-hmm.
almost every culture used music and ritual and chanting and different things for spiritual purposes. And music is inherently spiritual. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I'm getting off the track a little bit, maybe.
No, Kevin, you're completely fine. I can actually attest to that as well. The closest I've ever felt to a church community, I'm not a big church person these days, but the closest I've felt is when I've been singing or when I've been partaking in making music,
Yeah,
whether that was in a church or, out in a field somewhere,
yeah.
almost like a Woodstock experience a little bit. But yes, I can definitely attest to the sense of community that people get, the sense of togetherness. So that's wonderful that you've kind of been able to tap into that throughout your years of playing music and things. And actually, we were talking earlier, and you said that you had a number of students, and I was going to ask kind of how you got into being a teacher, but you answered that. You said you were a choir teacher, a choral teacher at one point.
Yeah, many, many years ago when I was in college, I used to teach guitar lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And at Johnny's Music in Duluth, which was Johnny's Music was an accordion studio. And they had this wonderful group called the Accordionaires. And they traveled all over the world. They were amazing. But they just so happened to have a place for guitar classes. And so I signed up to teach as a college job, teach guitar lessons to students.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my start into a little bit of introduction into teaching. And I've always enjoyed that, imparting that knowledge and gift to somebody else and watching them take that and run with it. It's tremendously gratifying.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous. If we can kind of touch more on your teaching style. Now you've spoken a lot about your faith and kind of how that translates into music and things like that, but you also do a lot of covers as well. So when your students come to you, do you gear more towards the acoustic side of things? I mean, I see that you've got a couple Stratocasters back there, and I kind of get the vibe that you're maybe a little more rock and roll than what you're letting on to,
Yep.
but
Like that one is a sweet rock guitar. Yeah.
yes, yes, that's very beautiful.
No, but I play them like acoustics, and I bring the electrics out to venues, and I always have an acoustic and an electric, and I play both of them. Mostly, it's pretty mellow. In fact, it was funny because last Saturday night I was playing at this place, and I said to the crowd, they wanted me to play some rock songs. Come
Yeah.
on, play something by AC/DC, and I can. I mean, I've got distortion and all that, but it's just me, so it doesn't really sound too hot.
Oh.
But so I said, okay, now here's the thing. if I do this for you, just watch and see. It'll last exactly 2 minutes, okay? A manager's going to come up to me and he's going to say, "You can't play like that here," you know? Well, he won't say it in that way. He'll say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, the guests are being a little bit disturbed by the volume. Would you mind turning it down just a little bit?" So I said, "This is what's going to happen now." So I start playing, and sure enough, 2 minutes later, the manager comes up and his hand on the side of his mouth goes, "Would you mind turning it down just a little bit? People can't hear themselves talk." And I'm just
Oh,
laughing. I'm just going, everybody in the audience is aware that this is what was, they knew that this was going to happen, you know? And it was almost like on cue. It was so funny.
no. Oh, Kevin, that's absolutely fabulous. It sounds like you have a plethora of stories. Are you ever going to write a book or write them all down?
Oh, never know. That could happen.
Have I planted the seed?
Sure. Uh, I don't know if anyone would want to read my stories. They're a little out there. Oh, boy.
Now I have to ask, what's the most outlandish story that you feel comfortable sharing?
Well, the problem with this story, it has nothing to do with music. It has to do with my son and a submarine, and it's kind of a spiritual story.
Okay.
But it takes a few minutes to tell. I mean, do we have the time really to
Yes, we
tell
have
this
the
story?
time.
This was when I was probably a little bit more active with the church that I was in, and so on Saturday nights they had this prayer thing, So you'd go there, and it was like Sunday morning was going to happen, and so they wanted to pray on Saturday night beforehand. So I just thought I had nothing else to do, so I thought, oh, well, I'll go down there and check it out. So I go down there, and we're just hanging around, and all of a sudden I get this impression. It's like this strange thing. My son was in the Navy, and he was on a submarine, and I got this strange impression, and I'm going like, what is this? And all of a sudden I said to the pastor, I go, you know what? I feel this weird impression that I'm supposed to go out and get on board that submarine where my son is, and walk through it and pray for all the guys in this stuff, because something's going to happen there. Something that's like life threatening, like something could happen. The mission's going to be compromised. The sub could get sunk. I mean, it's like something bad it could happen. And I just felt like, it's not like I hear the voice of God speaking to me every day or something, but I heard this, like, not audible, but I heard this. I had this impression, this strong impression, like go to the submarine. And so I call my son up and I tell him, "Hey, guess what? God's talking to me." Guess what he said? You're out of your mind. And I said, so I just had this thing, I think I'm supposed to come out, and he's laughing. He's going, "Dad, we're right in the middle of a nuclear, like a ballistic missile base. You can't just walk on and just go through the submarine. You can't go through the submarine and the stuff and the guys, and forget it. Just forget about it." Okay. So the next week I go there again on Saturday night, and I get the same thing. This time, the Lord whispers in my ear. He says, "Tell him you're going to have lunch with the captain." And I said, okay. I called him up and I said, "Hey, I'm supposed to walk through the submarine and pray for the stuff and the guys, and I'm going to have lunch with the captain, by the way." And he goes, "No, don't you dare call the Navy and ask to have lunch with the captain of the submarine. That would not work good for me." And I said, okay, well, I must be just like imagining stuff. A couple weeks later, I get a call. He says, "Hey, Dad, guess what? We're in San Diego, and the security here isn't as secure as it was in Washington. So if you come like tomorrow, you can get on the submarine. I already checked with my commanding officer, and he said it was all right." I'm going like, what? I called then Northwest Airlines, and I asked them to give me a deal on an airplane. It's like, this is kind of an emergency thing, I need to get out to San Diego like tomorrow. How much is it going to cost? The guy goes, $1,300. I go, what?
Ooh.
That's a really expensive prayer to make for $1,300, but I would do it. He goes, "Wait a minute. Do you have any frequent flyer miles?" And I go, "Well, not, I don't know." So anyways, I look up my account, and sure enough, I got half enough miles to go. He goes, "You know somebody else that you could borrow the miles from?" And I thought, well, maybe my wife had them, So sure enough, the next day I'm on the airplane heading towards San Diego for this mission, And it's like
Mm-hmm.
this is crazy for me. I've never done anything like this in my whole life.
Yeah.
And so so I get out there. Actually, I'm in line waiting for the airplane, and this lady at the ticket counter says to me, "Mr. Buck, your seat has been sold out 3 times. 3. You can't get on board this airplane right now unless you're willing to take a seat in first class." I said, "What? First class? Of course I'll take the seat in first class. What do you think?" So
Yeah.
I jump on the plane. I'm in first class. I'm just like, "Wow, this is awesome." And I get out to San Diego, and the night before, my wife is known for being thrifty, right? So
Okay.
she allows me to rent a really cheap car, okay, like the cheapest economy car there is, right? So I
Okay.
get out there, and I'm standing in line at the counter. Nobody's there, and I say, "Don't you have something, a little more cool?" And she goes, "Well, we do actually have something that might work for you." And she goes, would you spend $20 a week, this whole week, more for this car?" And so I look over there, and what is it? It's just like this blue little Corvette kind of thing,
Ooh.
convertible, it's really cool. And I'm just going like, wow, no kidding. So for $20 more, I'm driving a cool car. I'm sitting out there in October. It's 85 degrees and sunny in San Diego, and I'm just going like, wow, this is so awesome. So I get a phone call from my son. He's at the submarine base. Meet me at the gate. So I go to the gate. We go in there, and and there's a guy standing by this metal gate, right? And it's all
Mm-hmm.
closed up. And he's got an M16 rifle, and he's looking at me, and he looks at my son. He flashes his badge, and he says, "Okay, come on in." So we
Yeah.
go in, and before you know it, I am walking into this super, forgive me for saying bad, but it's bad ass. And just saying, but I shouldn't say that, but I'm going to say it because that's what it is. This
Mm-hmm.
submarine is like super amazing. It's like got black, like this Linux stuff, you put in your pickup bed.
Oh,
This
okay. Yeah,
like
yeah.
the whole outside is flat black like that. It's got this
Ooh.
coating on it, probably a radar coating, no numbers on it. It's like the super secret spy boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's supposed to ever get on that boat, but I'm getting on it and I'm walking through it. And my son's leading me through, and I get to go through all the different places in the boat, and I get to say prayers in different places and for different people,
Yeah.
and pretty soon I'm over his bed where he sleeps, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying prayers over that and all that. Well, anyway, at the end, we get up on the top of the deck. It's now it's later at night, and so we're up on the top of the deck all by ourselves. And I say, let's say a prayer right now for the submarine, because I knew that the mission was in jeopardy and that something could happen. The submarine could sink or be discovered or something. And
Mm-hmm.
so I said, let's put our hands on the deck and just say a prayer right now. So we did, and it was awesome. And then the next morning, we were going to go to SeaWorld. We woke up, and so I'll try to shorten this up a little bit, but
You're good.
we ended up having he says to me, hey Dad, I forgot my wallet inside. So we're driving out towards the gate. We have to come back. He goes back in the sub, gets his wallet, and he comes back out. Now it's about 11:30, right? we
Okay.
were meant to we were meant to leave at like 8 in the morning to go to SeaWorld, so we've already wasted half the day. And he goes, "Are you hungry?" And I go, "Yeah, I'm always hungry." And he goes, "Well, the crew is like right over there underneath this what do you call it, kind of like I don't know, like a big
Canopy.
tent,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like a big, and they're all there, everybody, and they're cooking brats, and they're some beer and stuff, and I go down there, and it's cool, and I get to meet all these different guys, weapons officer. This is the sonar guy. This is that guy, and the other guy, and finally I know there's a group of guys kind of standing off, and they're all dressed in khaki uniforms. He says,
Mm-hmm.
"Well, who are those guys?" "Well, that's executive officer and the captain and blah, 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 blah." And I go, really? And I said, I'd like an introduction if you don't mind. He goes, Dad, don't you do something crazy now. Don't get me in trouble. I said, don't worry, I'll be fine. So he brings me over there, and the captain is standing there with a hot dog in his hand, and I'm standing there with a hot dog in my hand,
Mm-hmm.
and we're eating hot dogs, and we're talking at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it right at the moment, but I was actually having lunch with the captain of this nuclear submarine, which is something nobody gets to do ever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was awesome. And so anyway, then we went to SeaWorld after that, and that was kind of cool. But fast forward 6 months later,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Do you remember the movie Captain Anderson, which was about this captain of this ship that got hijacked by Somali pirates?
I don't.
It was Tom Hanks was acting in that movie,
Mm.
was the captain, and anyway, so the submarine mission was in
Mm-hmm.
that area,
Okay.
and they were patrolling around these areas that were pirate infested waters, and they're trying to do something about this pirate situation. Anyways, the submarine was in this area, and all of a sudden, Joel gets an emergency appendicitis. His appendix ruptures, right? And he's on the submarine, and they're submersed, and
Oh.
it's in enemy
Mm-hmm.
water, so they can't really come to the surface. They shouldn't. Never.
Yeah.
They should never do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but the doctor on board made the captain bring the ship to the surface, right? So anyway, ship comes up to the surface, and they put my son on a rib boat, which is like a Zodiac type boat.
Okay.
Bring him over
Yeah.
to the hospital ship. He has his operation and so forth. But the really cool part about it is, a few months after that, when he gets back home, he tells me, "Hey, look in the military channel at 9 o'clock. We look at the TV and we get to actually watch on TV. For some reason, they recorded this whole episode on video. You see the submarine shoot out of the water. You see the ribboat come across, and it goes. You remember I told you about that place that we knelt down to pray on top of the deck? Right, exactly at that spot is where the ribboat came to rescue him. He had to jump from the top of the deck onto the boat on the water, which
Mm-hmm.
is about a 12-foot drop. He got on, and then we saw the remote go back across, and we were watching the doctor examine him on TV. And I just thought, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
anyway, the
Mm-hmm.
moral of the story is, when you have a intuition about a family member or a friend, and you think this is the craziest thing ever, it might just not be. It might mean the difference between somebody's life and death, because what I didn't know is that somebody could have died, and namely it was him, my son,
Mm.
And so when I got a chance to pray over his bed, I think that mattered, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that submarine could have been compromised, and it could have been, but it wasn't. And so, like, I think that prayer, it's not like, I'm super powerful or nothing, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's just that I just did what I believed was the right thing to do. I followed after it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, anyways, you asked what the coolest story was of my life, and
Yeah.
that's probably the coolest story.
That, yes, Kevin, that sounds absolutely amazing. In my 35 years of existence, I cannot top that at all. Maybe one day,
Oh,
but
I don't think I can either, and I don't know as though I'd want to. It's just an amazing
Mhm.
happened, and it's just a serendipity thing.
Right, right, definitely. Um, so Kevin, you're a musician, you're a teacher, you're a facilitator of prayer and positivity. What else can I add to this list, sir?
Oh, sir, I'm also old.
No, I say sir out of respect, not because you're old.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. I don't know. I've been a small business owner and entrepreneur for 5 years, and so
Mhm.
as I get to the end of my career, about what I want to do after that in retirement, and really do just love to play music and sing songs, and more than anything, try to encourage people that, life is worth living and people are worth investing in, and love is worth, it's worth giving yourself away for love, Music says that all the time, and I believe in that too.
Yeah. Oh, fabulous, Kevin. Fabulous. So, Kevin, are you hoping to put any of your music to CD? Do you have any recordings, or are you just strictly a live performer?
No, I do have a website. It's kevinbuckmusic.com. And I have a Facebook presence, Kevin Buck Solo Acoustic Musician. You can follow me there. My different venues where I'm playing show up there. I've got little posters and stuff that you can look at. And I do have recordings on there. I've got a YouTube channel that I'm working on, putting up recordings. I'm trying to do 1 or 2 recordings a month. And I just keep kind of putting them up there. And they're really simple, I just play the guitar. It's just kind of me and the guitar, I try not to overproduce them with drums and keyboards and all that other stuff, and just try to keep it simple the way I do it live. And I hope that people enjoy that,
Oh, absolutely fabulous. Kevin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, your entrepreneurial schedule, and your music schedule to talk with me in the wider world about Kevin Buck, solo acoustic performer. Absolutely fabulous. And Kevin, if someone's interested in taking lessons from you, is all your information on your website?
Yeah, and probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is by email, and my email is really super simple. It's Kevin Buck, like BUCK, musician@gmail.com.
All right.
So if somebody wants to pursue that further, just know that I'm a terrible tyrant as a teacher.
I don't think so. Not after the few stories that you've shared. I don't think tyrant is in the vocabulary for you.
It's probably not the right word, but it's just that I have a lot of expectations. And so if somebody's going to stay with me as a student, and, I'm going to demand that they learn. I'm not going to just let them sit there and spin their wheels. So they have to be willing to work hard. Yes.
Yep. Fabulous. Kevin, thank you so much. And this will not be the last time we talk, sir. Have a fabulous evening, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Take my hand, baby, make you mine. I'm through waiting, taking my time. Never felt like this before. Take my name, make it yours. I hope you don't think it's a little bit crazy saying this all so soon. But baby, it's the right time. Knew it was the first time that I laid my eyes on you. It's okay, let them say what they want. They might think I should wait, but I don't want. Now wait another minute, girl, I want you in it, every single part of my world. 1, 2, 3. So take my hand, let me make you mine. I'm through waiting, taking my time. Never felt like this before. Take my name and make it yours. I know I'm the last guy anybody might think ever might be talking like this, yeah. But I can see my future in your eyes tonight and taste forever on your lips. I'm like, hold up a minute, don't go. Ain't no way I can take this slow. So go ahead and tell me I'm out of my mind. Oh baby, just tell me yes. Take my hand, baby, make you mine. I'm through waiting, taking my time. Never felt like this before. Take my name and make it yours. Take my days, baby, take my nights. Go ahead and take the rest of my life. Oh, 'cause I don't wanna wait no more. Take my name and make it yours. Take it all, baby, I don't ever want it back. Take it all, everything that I have. Take my hand, baby, make you mine. I'm through waiting, taking my time. Never felt like this before. Take my name and make it yours. Take my days, baby, take my nights. Go ahead and take the rest of my life. Oh, 'cause I don't wanna wait no more. Take my name, make it yours, make it yours, make it yours. Oh, 'cause I don't wanna wait no more. Take my name, make it yours.